So let's begin with student recruitment, and I'm going to bring back my friend Taelo. And I'll say, well, the first thing that we need to do, if you were listening in the first part, is we need to get to know Taelo individually. Now, how do we do that? We obviously don't have time to go and sit down and have lunch with 40,000 people to really get to know them. And so I'm not talking about a kind of relational, in the true sense of the word, get to know. I'm talking about a business relationship, yes. And obviously at the heart and center of that is we've got to keep good records of the people that come to our institutions, and that so that we can begin to understand who they are. And so traditional CRM, customer relationship management, is right at the heart of that. It's the database that you need that has all of your student information, all the interaction, etc. And so if we're going to have a look at, this is Microsoft Dynamics, been set up to for an academic institution. It's actually one of our clients, and what we've got over here, this is just demo sample data. Taylor is not actually a real person. We might be. That picture is obviously a real person. Anyway, I digress. So here we've got all sorts of different information. We've got his WhatsApp number, his email address. We know whether he's the account payer or not. We know if he's part of, as I said before, he's working and studying at the same time, paying his own way. So he's working at Ogilvy, and he's a junior creative over there. And we've got some personal information. We know that he's single. We know when his birthday is. We know that he doesn't have any special needs, which is fine. And we know where he stays. And you can see that where he is on the journey with us by just looking at the record. We can also dive in, there to just understanding a little bit more about him. So if he comes along into this recruitment process, we want to know, where did he come from? So we've got this, let me just get my laser pointer here. So we can go over here and say, okay, he came in through an advertisement that we put out on social media. He responded to that, and so that's the lead source. Why do I want to know that? Well, I want to tie back marketing expenses, marketing spend, back to return on investment. So we can start tracking that. I can see that he's been contacted, that he's in consultation maybe with a recruitment advisor or a student advisor, whatever the case may be. We know that he's interested in the Faculty of Arts and Design, that he's potentially looking at a high certificate in graphic web design, because that's what he's telling us that he wants to study at this point in time. We can see that he wants contact learning, that he might be wanting to head over to our Randburg campus, and that he wants to join us next year in the first semester. So at this point, we're tracking everything and every engagement and every conversation with Taylor as he comes through the student recruitment process. And we need to put it somewhere. And that somewhere is a powerful database that is relational, that we can gather all the information, all the contact details, that we can look at interaction information, and it really becomes the heart and soul and the centerpiece of everything that we then do with Taylor. The next thing is that we need to mold up our own interaction and our own business processes around the journey that Taylor wants to take. So if you looked at the top of that record, you might have seen this little ribbon. Now this is the business process ribbon that exists in Dynamics. And what it is it's set up, or we set it up, to follow and mimic your business processes. And they can be incredibly complex. If I go look at the logic that sits behind that little business process flow over here, we've got conditional branching, and we've got all sorts of decisions that are being made. And was I able to get in contact with him at the first step, yes or no? Oh, no, I wasn't. Okay, then follow a separate path. Send him an automated email, pop him an SMS. Whatever the case may be, we can sit and work with you to understand, what does this recruitment process look like in your organization, and how do we kind of come along to automate some of these tasks, to schedule work and assign it to different people, and to just generally amplify the staff's capability of dealing with all these applications that are coming through. Right, so the next piece then is augmenting the application process with some kind of digital intake. And when I mean digital intake, I don't mean, hey, here's a PDF document that you can download, that you can fill up by hand and then email it back to us. While you're using a digital channel, that is not inherently digital. Somebody's got to take that information, they've got to recapture it, there's potential for error. And so what we want to do is go and make this fully digital as much as possible. And so we worked with an institution. I've just taken a couple of screenshots from their system. And here's Taylor logging into their application portal. You can either create an account, he can log in with his social account if he doesn't want to create his own account. And when he's in, he can go here and set up that application in the most simple of possible ways. Just capture a couple of details, indicate whether he wants to work full-time, part-time, which campus he's interested in, etc., etc. All of these fields plug immediately straight back into that core CRM system that's keeping track of everything to do with Taylor. And so it's an extension that he's actually capturing his own details in your system, making sure that they're correct, making sure the fidelity of the data is high, making sure that it's accurate to what he wants right now. And because he's doing it in real time, you are able to respond in real time. And so if he, as an example, this little slider that says, do you know what you want to study? If he said no, we could fire off an immediate alert to somebody, to a student advisor, to say, Tayo's online right now. He needs some help. Why don't you reach out to him, see how you can help him? We can pop in a chat window over there because it's a website effectively. We can say, how do we engage digitally immediately while I'm there, while I have some questions. And so it's not the, hey, here's a form, go fill out the form and send it in and then hope and pray that you get in. It can be a highly immersive and highly collaborative experience for the student, and doesn't require a lot of extra effort. It just requires technology, and that's where I get super excited. The next piece is that, as I said to you before, if we look at the responses and we look at the South African context, start thinking mobile. Start thinking of, okay, I want to fill in an application form digitally on a mobile device. How am I going to do that? Well, that's great, because we can take that exact same application portal that we built, and it's responsive out the box. And so irrespective of whether I'm using a mobile phone, whether I'm using a tablet, whether I'm using a PC, whether I'm standing at a kind of kiosk in the foyer, in the lobby, and I'm filling things out there, or I'm in a computer room, whatever, I can use the same piece of technology to take in those application forms, which is pretty cool. When I want to upload documents, and maybe I need to give you my academic transcript or my proof of matric or whatever the case may be, I can take a photo on my device, I can upload that photo, you can have that proof of, immediate proof of documentation, etc. And there's a lot of things that we can do if you just start thinking about the context of the student and saying, well, hey, they're not only just applying, how are they applying? Are they applying at work? Are they on their mobile device? Are they, how? And why not take this into a different channel? Why not take it into, a chat and allowing a bot to go and do this application process automatically? There's lots of different things that we can do over there. And I guess one of the points here is about making sure that we're providing consistency across those channels. Because we now have so many channels that are potentially available, if it's WhatsApp, and if it's our LinkedIn account or our Facebook account, there's so many ways that students can reach out to us. But are they getting the same level of interaction, the same level of engagement, the same level of service across those? So they might have a great experience with your social media team who's dealing with your Facebook account, but then they come to the registrar and processing the application, and they just hit a brick wall. They don't have any feedback. There's nothing happening over there. And so we've got to make sure that we have this consistency across all the channels. So from email to contact center to SMS to chat to moving into the bot scenario and having a digitized chat process, to looking at all of our social accounts like LinkedIn and Facebook Messenger and Twitter and WhatsApp. We have to make sure that across all of these channels, we're having consistency, that we're keeping this guy in mind. He's at the center of our universe. We want him to feel special, but we're doing this times about 20,000. And the only way to do that is with technology. But we can, which is really cool. The last thing we want to do, of course, through this recruitment process is make sure that we're measuring constantly what's happening. We're looking at those processes. We're saying, where is he going wrong? Where is he going right? Where do we potentially have a bottleneck? How can we iterate and improve our processes? How can we make things better? How can we see, oh, geez, Jeanette is swamped down there. She's processing all these things on her own. She has no hope. Let's go and see if we can fix it. So throughout the system, we get the ability to go do things like this. I can see Tayolo's interaction with us. I can see the emails that he's sent, the website that he's visited, the forms that he's captured, the social media campaigns he's interacted with. I can see that all in context, and I can see it chronologically. This is the latest action flowing back into the past. I can see how he's interacting with us, and that is going to help me to change how we staff and how we use the valuable minimal resources that we have to service the needs. We can look at over here, marketing return on investment, saying, hey, we're running a campaign, we're tracking budgets, so there's our budgets, and here's how much we've spent so far, so we're okay now. How many leads is this producing? And from those leads, how many applications are being processed? We want to see, if I'm going to go and spend R500,000 Rand on a marketing campaign, how much money ultimately is that marketing campaign making me, and is worth it? And if we're not measuring, if we're not monitoring this, then we're just going to keep on throwing good money after bad work, and it's not going to go anywhere. We're not going to be making the impact that we intended to make. And so we need this constant feedback, this constant feedback loop, so that you can adjust and do better next time. We might want to see where they are specifically on their journey. This registration, 25 people came in, they got an email automatically sent to them. We set up a little timer to say, once you've sent that first mail in, wait a couple of days, then send another one to follow up, because we're trying to get them to an event, or we're trying to get them to come in for a visit to tour the institution, whatever it is. And these journeys you can set up and put in different timers and different conditions, and you can move between channels, send an email, then an SMS, then follow up with something else, then invite them to a webinar, then do something else, send them an automated webinar link after the fact. You guys have actually experienced this yourself. You've been a product of marketing automation for this particular event. Tanya went and set up using Dynamics this whole process, and saying, if you went and signed up for the event, you got automated emails. You probably got an email this morning saying, hey, today's the day, we're going to be having our webinar. So these are, you've experienced firsthand. I'd love to hear your feedback on that, and if you thought it was cool, if you didn't even read it, if you didn't even notice, that would also be an interesting insight. But as marketers, and as people who care about the student success, we've got to come and evaluate how we're doing these things and what impact we're making, and is it making an impact, and are people following on the right channels and through the right processes. So super important to get some feedback over there. All right, so that kind of encapsulates the conversation around the application process. Of course, I didn't go too deep through enrollment and through registration and through booking student housing and all that kind of stuff. And that, of course, is possible. We've done that with clients before, orchestrating the work between different departments, making sure that it's not just at the application stage, but that communication, that conversation is happening all the way through.